19 May 2020, and I'm joined by Mr. Khaliphani Phugeni, MDCT President, spokesman. How are you, sir?
I'm okay. How are you? I wish you just stopped at president.
I know. Yeah. So today we're talking about the statement during the interview by the Secretary for Education for MDCT, Fadzayi Mahere. You see the one for MDCT or MDC Alliance?
No. Remember that the advocate joined the MDC Alliance in 2019. So she may just be an ordinary member if she identifies with the judgment, but based on that interview, I don't think she does. So no, she is not the national executive member for the MDCT.
Okay. What do you think about her statements that she made this morning regarding the Supreme Court judgment?
Well, let's agree one thing. I think she's very eloquent. She's a very smart woman. And I don't think you'll disagree with me when I'm saying she's a national treasure of some sort. I think no one can dispute that. But it speaks to the issues I raised with you, I think, on our last interview on Sunday. She is also dishonest. And I'll put it to you in this way. If you look at her CV, considering what she has done, she definitely knows what she's doing and what she's talking about. So you know that presentation that she was making was completely dishonest in this way. She says, she make an assertion that the appointment of Chamisa and Mutsuru was legal, in the sense that she says democracy is a game of numbers because so many people supported it, then therefore it was a legal appointment. It's wrong. Let me give you an example, which she knows this very well. The American system, just to show you the importance of the constitutions and how they cannot be willy-nilly broken. In the American Constitution, a president does not win based on the numbers or the popularity thereof. You win based on the Electoral College. That's in their constitution. So you find that in 2016, Secretary Clinton had 3 million more popular vote than President Trump. But because of their constitution and their electoral system, you know that that's a democracy. It does not undermine the election of the president to that post. So you can't wake up and say, no, we need to change this constitution at any given time, simply because at this time the majority prefer so and so. And that was a legal argument that I've just made. But even when you go by logic, it's absurd, because if his candidate, Chamisa in this case, was popular, there would have been no point of him to try and ban Dr. Kupe in a hut in Puera. Why would you do that? And then follow her in Bulawayo and the rain rocks at her for 3 hours. Then follow her in Harare High Court, abuse her in the manner which they did, and that also includes the same Joanna in the crowd that is in the hospital right now with her. And we have never seen a tweet or anything or any interview from her, and I'm now talking about the advocate, condemning all of that, which tells you that this project has nothing to do with the democratization project of Zimbabwe. They are looking at a certain demographic, they are looking at a certain class, they are looking at certain people which they think are important and they matter, and those are the people that they are there to protect their interests and advance their interests.
Let's look at a first argument, which was that the illegality took place during Morgan Tsvangirai's days, and Dr. Kupe, Morgan Komichi, and Douglas Ngonzora were quiet during those days. They did not challenge Tsvangirai. Was she wrong?
She was extremely wrong in the case of Dr. Kupe. Dr. Kupe challenged that. The fallout which you have interviewed me about over and over again with the late president was over that whole issue. Until they found each other. Unfortunately, it was too late for the late president, because he was then ready to reverse all of those things after it had become apparent to him that no, he should have not done things the manner which he went about it. Now, let me speak further into that argument. She then says, because the committee went to the Aguero Congress and lost, and Monzora went into the Aguero Congress and lost, he actually says Monzora wanted to be president. He couldn't get a single nomination for that. Then he said he wants to be Secretary General, which he lost by a large margin. And then she says, because of that, it is not fair to then say Dr. Kupe is actually the acting president. No, because she misses the point that, number one, committee at no stage during this whole process did he say the MDCT was wrong in its treatment of Dr. Kupe, until the judgment, by the way. The committee was the one representing the party against Dr. Kupe. S.G. Monzora, in this whole instance, he was first of all one of the respondents when our organ from Gokwe took the party to court. And then after that whole ordeal, then Chamisa became the appellant. He then went and appealed that judgment, making Monzora the respondent. You will appreciate that both Monzora and Mutsuri, they withdrew from that case. The legal effect is that they were saying, we do not disagree with you, Chamisa, we agree with you, right? But Dr. Kupe stood firm and said, no, this is wrong, and she defended that High Court judgment. There's something that you guys didn't notice, but let me help you with it. Once Chamisa went about removing the respondents, one of the respondents he wanted to remove was Dr. Kupe. And up to that point, Dr. Kupe was not coming to court, largely because of the threat that, that Chamisa's youth represented. So when we saw what he was doing, we then decided that Dr. Kupe must go to court so that the court can see that instead of this notion that she has moved on, which they wanted to give to the court and the whole world, that no, she has not moved on. By the way, she's still fighting this case, because if she had moved on after Monzora had withdrawn and Mutsuri had withdrawn, and if she had moved on, the court would have told the guy that we want to give her a judgment, but everyone agrees with Chamisa, then therefore whatever the party has done up to now, it should be sufficient a remedy for you. So once Dr. Kupe went there, then the court saw that no, she has not moved on, and this judgment came today. So you cannot deprive Dr. Kupe her win on the basis that somehow these two men or three men who were part of your shenanigans then have since seen the light and they've repented, and then you say, no, she must not get a remedy because of that. No, that's not how you reason. She is not genuine, like I told you. She's not genuine. There is a demographic, there's a constituency that she thinks is more important than the other. She's not involved in a democratization project of Zimbabwe, not at all. Let me give you an argument in a layman's terms that everyone can understand. For the purposes of this illustration of mine, let's say you are married. I don't know if you are or not, but let's just say you are married. You are from a village. You found yourself a beautiful young lady, a village lady like yourself. You agreed to get married to each other under certain terms of your marriage, and you come up with certain agreements. Let's just say on a civil, you get married on a civil marriage agreement, right? So which means you can't have extra women, you can't have extra wives and all those things. It's just one man, one woman. And then you then develop your home, you develop each other, and then you move to the city, and now you are in the city, the two of you. And then all of a sudden, you are now this powerful Kabakwe owning a media house and all those things. Then you wake up one morning, you want to go and bring another woman that you think, in your view, is more sophisticated, is more beautiful than your wife. All of a sudden, you are finding fault with your wife. And then your wife says, no, you can't do that. I am the wife here. You wanted to recognize the other person as a wife also. She refuses that. And then eventually your matter ends up in court. And then the courts actually confirmed that, no, she is your only wife in terms of the law. The other person is not a wife. It may be a girlfriend, may be a lover, but it's definitely not the wife. And then you turn back together with your family, and then you say, no, 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 no. The courts cannot impose a makoti for us. The courts cannot, then you say, the courts cannot impose a wife for me. No, the courts have not done that. The courts have interpreted to you the contract which you entered into. You see? So basically that's what the courts have done. The courts have not imposed the president on the MDCT. The courts have interpreted our constitution for us, and they have said, in line with your constitution, go and do likewise. That's what the courts have done. But it will seem as if the other one is scared to come and participate in something which, when he joined the MDCT, he knew exactly what he was doing. He came into this party knowing our rules, processes, and our constitution. And that's what the courts have done. The courts have simply said, this is what your constitution means. Go and do exactly as your constitution requires.
Okay, I want us to wrap up. So the argument she's making is that this is not a legal matter. The MDC is a voluntary organization, and the leadership of that organization is chosen according to how the people inside feel. And you're saying this is not correct.
Yeah, it's absurd. And I think I've demonstrated to you on two different occasions, in the sense that that argument of hers defeats the whole purpose of then constitutions in a voluntary organization. Then you don't need constitutions. Then at any time we can come all and vote and say, what do we want today? Then the majority will rule the day. It defeats all of those things. But what she doesn't want to accept, and what people are missing, is that is an exception, not the rule, that people of different dispositions, people of different races, different tribes, and different religions, they don't easily work together unless there is some guiding principle around it. And that's what the Constitution does. And once you violate it, there must be a way of correcting that mischief. That's the point that she wants to miss. Now, if she, by the way, in South Africa, if you go across the border, there is a case, and she can go and check this one out. It's called Sitsiba and others versus TOC. And she will see what happened there. Almost the same instance that mirrors what happened in the MTC team. And the judge in that case, which was the High Court, it said, no, 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 no. An illegality is an illegality right to the end. You cannot create a legal issue out of an illegality. So that appointment of the two persons as vice presidents was an illegality. You couldn't later, almost as she wants to say, correct that or rectify that. You couldn't do that because it was an illegality from day number one. And now she wants to benefit out of that illegality. Can you imagine if it was allowed that an illegal thing is done now and then it's rectified later? Do you think anyone is going to follow the rules? What is the incentive of following the rules?
Okay. So in your opinion, since people like Advocate Mahere are very close to Nelson Chamisa, do you think Nelson Chamisa is getting the wrong advice?
I don't have to be a rocket scientist or a brain surgeon, by the way. Everyone can see. You see, if you want to see how mischievous Advocate Mahere is, you know that yesterday we were in court against the Alliance crowd, right? And,
yes,
and
yes.
that court has been postponed for tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
Yes.
Now, why is she not one of the counsels representing their case there? But she wants to come and litigate the matter in the public like this, where there are no rules, where no one can correct anyone. Why? Because all she's doing is propaganda. This is just an exercise in political communication. She is dishonest. That's basically what I'm saying.
Very interesting.
She has an opportunity. She has an opportunity to go before a court of law and advance these arguments, but she's not doing that. Do you know why? Because she knows that she will advance these arguments and she will lose, and it will have a bearing on her CV. She knows that, but she's not going to do it.
Okay, so I think we've covered this very, very well. Is there anything else you want to say before we close?
No, I would like to say I am disappointed in you, and I hope you will publish this. I'm disappointed in you that the two ladies from Bulawayo still have not received any attention that is equal to the level of abuse they got from the state agencies. At least the MTC youths, I'm happy for them. The state has committed to investigate, but the Bulawayo ladies, there's just this deafening silence. You come to Dr. Kupe and find fault with her for raising the issue of the Bulawayo ladies together with the Harare ladies, as if there's something special about their case to the exclusive, to the exclusion of the one in Bulawayo. And you say nothing to Chamisa. You haven't even interviewed him to ask him why has he not raised the issue of the Bulawayo ladies.
Okay, do you know that there was someone from Bulawayo who was killed by soldiers when the lockdown started?
I do not know.
Okay, we published that story. It also did not get any national coverage. The reason being,
my point.
Yes.
Here's my point. I'm saying to you, why is it not getting that national? Forget the new one that you have told me about. I am saying the past one. This one that we're talking about, because you say Dr. Kupe should not have raised the matter. And I am saying, why have you not gone to Chamisa and said to him, why are you not raising the Bulawayo matter?
Okay, I'll make a plan for you to raise this issue. Because honestly speaking, I had not touched that issue because of the tribal undertones. I ignored it for that reason. Yeah,
but that's another absurd excuse. It's a useless excuse in my view. You cannot say because you presumed that the journalist has a tribal undertone. So are you saying to me those ladies deserved the inhuman treatment? Is that what you're saying?
No, the journalist did not have undertones. He said it. They went out and were on about a tribal angle. That's what caused us to just leave the issue, because we did not understand what was going on.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, what type of solidarity and justice and being the fourth estate, in other words, holding the powers that be to account? You have to explain to me and say to me, these ladies, they deserved it, because that's what you are saying in essence. At what stage, what has disqualified them of your agency? What has disqualified them of your agency?
Okay, Mr. Phugeni, when you came to me, you have never at any point said Chamisa took over because he was fighting against Ndebele people. If you had done that, it was going to be very complicated for me to cover this issue. That's why I'm covering your side of the story, because it's national. However, because of the way those guys raised the issue, I was one of the first persons to see that issue, but I just ignored it after that. Because I think we need to get to a point where we take issues as national issues, not tribal issues.
Right. Let me answer your question, which you asked me on Sunday. We have since gotten hold of the ladies. If you are really interested, I can even give you their contacts. Those ladies did nothing with the inhuman treatment they received from those security personnel. Those ladies did nothing for their case to be dismissed as a tribal issue by you. So whilst other people may have done something wrong, as a journalist who want to hold Dr. Kupe's feet to the fire, and I agree with you there 100%, I don't have a problem. But also allow me, when I point the wrong things to you, if somebody comes and presents my issue in a manner that sounds tribal to you, it does not mean that you then therefore have to shun me and shun my case and do not report my case in the manner that it deserves. That's the point I'm making to you.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I promise you that I'll get hold of the ladies, we'll discuss offline, and we need to make sure that we understand this issue. We'll bring it to national prominence. Is that sufficient?
Yes, that is sufficient. I'm happy, because that is my job. I'm on country duty. I'm going to fix all of you guys, because I can tell you without a shadow of doubt, yourself and the entire of the so-called private media, and in this case, of course, I must also bring even the public media. You are all an extension of one party or the other. You are not on a democratic project. If you're on a democratic project, you will go out and hold everyone to accountable in the same standard and in the same manner. If Mr. Phugeni is wrong, hold my feet to the fire, but do the same to Chamisa, do the same to President Emerson Mnangagwa.
Right, that is perfect. I think we should end it here. Is it possible for us to come back tomorrow after the court ruling so that we can digest what has happened in court?
Oh, certainly. Yeah, certainly. The court is at 3. So let's see how long and how far it goes. I will let you know as soon as the proceedings are done.
All right, thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you, my brother.